Grail isn't a cup. It's a stone. Thank you for watching. This is a project in which I am attempting to decode Gallo-Celtic mythology through astronomy, using Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parzival as my starting point. I have now finished reading the entire story once, and I am currently going back to the beginning, revising the text for narration and reading it through again. From the very beginning, I suspected that I would not truly understand books 1 and 2 until I had read the entire work. And I was absolutely right. I expected this, but the hypotheses I had before reading the whole story have inevitably turned out to be different from what I found along the way. And precisely because of that, I have made one discovery after another. The road to the finish line has been a difficult one. I am currently rereading Book 9. For me, Book 9 was the point where I realized that something I had assumed was absent was actually important enough to be almost one of the central elements of the story. I found another important clue there this time as well. Perhaps that is because Book 9 is, in a sense, about following footprints and tracing them back toward their source. At first, I was constantly running into walls. Could this character be that star? No, apparently not. Could this mean this? No, not at all. Should I ignore Wolfram's own little comments, or examine them carefully? Maybe those very comments contain an important clue? I kept banging my head against these problems. And knowing how easily I get sidetracked, I suppose I have, inevitably, taken some rather spectacular detours. At this point, I think I may have gotten fairly close to understanding what it means that Wolfram does not actually call it a grail, but describes it as a stone. But, who knows? There are things resembling this in Irish tradition as well, but we do not have a reliable record from the Gallic side, so I still cannot say that I am certain. When we think of a Celtic object resembling the Grail, the first thing that usually comes to mind is the Great Cauldron. But perhaps that was not actually the main model. Still, the fact that it is not a Grail, but a stone, is a major clue. I may have come one step closer to what the mythology of Gaul may actually have looked like. Or at least, I hope I have. I have already identified a few astronomical phenomena that I suspect may have occurred at specific points in the story. So the next step will be to run astronomical observation software and see whether the calculations actually support the idea. I suspect I may once again discover. Nope. That was wrong. Maybe it was this instead. Which is terrifying. And yet, I can't wait. There were many points along the way when I thought, maybe the stars really have nothing to do with this. Maybe this doesn't preserve Gallo-Celtic mythology or culture at all. And yet, certain characters move through the story in ways that seem almost impossible to explain any other way. So I have continued, half believing and half doubting my own theory. To be completely honest, even now I sometimes think, maybe I have assigned the wrong star to this character after all. I am still in the process of putting this enormous hypothesis together, hoping that the stars themselves will tell me whether I am right. And even at this stage, when I am working with a model that is simply the best explanation I can currently find, borrowing what I can from astronomical knowledge to move forward, I have found myself deeply impressed by the people who may have observed, preserved, and passed down the mythology of ancient Gaul, the people we call druids and poets. Their powers of observation and intellect must have been extraordinary. Their ability to calculate and memorize, certainly, but also their flexibility of thought. And even their ideas about virtue seem to contain things that I feel we may need in the modern world. How did the people of that time understand the world? And what did they teach about how one should live? I am still piecing this together from knowledge borrowed from many different fields, but I feel that I can finally begin to see the silhouette of something. I have no idea when this will be finished. But this may become an enormous body of work. And finally, just one more thing. It's likely that there were 3 big festivals in Gaul, and that's probably why the main character is practically 3 people. That is all from the field.